Welcome, and my name is Itozie, your facilitator for this webinar. This webinar is powered by Santus Consulting. Santus Consulting is an indigenous HR human resources company that helps organizations to fulfill their staffing needs. And Ijoma is a certified human resources professional, and she is your dedicated and detailed HR consulting partner. That is to say, we don't just leave you to tell us what you want. So we partner with you, look at the things your organization is presently faced with, and see how we work together with you to make things work in your organization as it has to do with human resources, human and material resources as well. Ijoma is driven by the core value of excellence. And in all we do, we always ensure that we leave a signature on the aisle. We're not in a hurry to do things and rush off. When I mean we're not in a hurry to do things and rush off, I mean that we want to make everything excellent in all we do. We have our QA processes and the rest. She is the convener of the Career Construction Series, the A to Z, and the pioneer of your weekly career dose and monthly capsule. This is who Itozie Ijoma Santos is. And it will be my pleasure to take you through this training. Okay, I'll promise. A quick introduction to today's training. In recent times, people are being encouraged to have multiple streams of income, and reason being that they have a whole lot of things to take care of, and they also have families, they have friends, they have pressing issues to handle. And in a situation where the person or the group of persons are in a country that the economy is not so wonderful, then there is need for the person to take on extra means of income. What other factors could make one to take on another job? It could be because of the passion to get into a particular field. You will agree with me that there are people that are in a professional field and you see them doing something different by the side. That could be because of passion. They have, for example, we have a lawyer that enjoys farming. We have an accountant that enjoys farming. We have a medical doctor that enjoys managing social media handles. That's a factor. And another factor could be that the person is trying to acquire more skills to complement what they already have or what they already know. That could be another reason. And the next reason could be in preparation for retirement, because a whole lot of people, once they retire from service, they're unable to take care of themselves, they're unable to sustain the family financially, and so on. So one wants to acquire a particular skill so that when they are done, when they retire, they have something that will keep them busy. And it's even more advantage to them when it's something they have a passion for or have passion doing. Another reason could be so that the person will be guarded for rainy days. We'll be looking at reasons people look for other sources of income, like a continuation. We have the financial stability and security. Can someone tell me one other thing aside what you're seeing here? Why someone would want to look for other sources of income?
For me, I feel aside from extra income, because definitely we know that the country is not really, the prices of things are high, and definitely your sources of income or your source of income may not be able to take care of your bills. Definitely one will need an extra source of income just to support what they're doing. But for me, when I started mine is as a result of something I love doing. It which is IT. Right from childhood, I've always loved IT. And so people come around and say, help me and fix system, help me and do this, help me and do that. And so it got the time that I realized that it's high time then I start converting the skills into a source of income. So so that was what led to mine. And for now, I realized it's way more than just making income, but it's a way that I connect to people and create my own network. Yes. So.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that input. All right.
Can I say something?
Yes, you can say something, Judith.
Okay, so I just want to elaborate a little more on the use of other talents, and I want to use myself as a case study. Mm-hmm. So when I moved here to the US, I was working like full time, but I started having like the passion to cook, which was very weird because a lot of people I know like hate to cook. So like when we're having like a family meeting, I'm usually like a volunteer to cook. I'm always wanting to cook. And like when people are doing like birthdays, I'm like, don't worry, I'll cook for you. And I was doing it like for free. And my 9-year-old son will always say, oh, Mom, you're a chef. He just started putting this business idea in my head because I was doing it for pleasure. I was using my talent. And he started telling me like, you can do this for business. And that was how it started. And my sisters too, they were like, you can do this as a business. So it started as a talent for me. And then eventually, like now people are always saying, can you cook for me? Because the state I am, we don't have like a lot of Black people. So people don't do like Black stuff or cook our food. So now I am like in a position where I say, oh no, I'm busy. I can't cook this weekend. And now I am making money out of something that was my talent, something that I use for pleasure. So sometimes we have these things that we love doing, but we don't see it as a talent because before now, I didn't see like my cooking skills as a talent. I just felt I love to cook. So we should like look at our inner selves and look at those things that we love to do that brings pleasure, not just to us, but to other people, because satisfaction for me is what matters.
Great.
And eventually we will see ourselves making money out of that pleasure, out of that talent that we have.
Yes. Right. Thank you so much, Judith, for that contribution. So the first point here is for financial stability and security, like the other person talked about things being on the high side in the country. So there's a bit of increase in the cost of things, and you just see yourself not being able to save or even handle some other things. So for financial stability and security, one of the benefits is that it comes with having multiple sources of income that will make you have a financial stability. The next one is that the use of other talents, which Judith actually explained. You have passion for cooking, you know how to cook, and you enjoy cooking. What did she do? She started off as just helping people out to cook, and because it's actually her talent and the rest, she enjoys doing that. And what happened along the line? She started making money from it. The next one is achieving financial goals. It helps you get closer to your financial goals. And so to this effect, people begin to consider doing a lot of things to make more money. And what are these things? We're talking about multiple jobs. And these things are actually this kind of category. These categories are mostly practiced in the BPO environment. So for those of us that don't know what BPO means, it means business process outsourcing environment. And a typical example is a call center, where you have an employee of a contact center work 4 hours of shift, okay? Maybe they're on permanent morning for a particular month. They could be on permanent afternoon, and they could also be on permanent night shift for a particular organization. And once they're done from that organization, what happens? They go to another place. So this could be an on-premise job, or it could be a remote job where they just sit at the comfort of their homes and do what? And attend to their jobs without any glitches. So the next one is entrepreneurship. That is to say, you start up your own business. It could be either little, it could be big, but what is this driving at? To do what? Make extra money aside from your primary stream of income. Before we delve into it proper, it's important that we note the following. Okay, you need to understand that you have been hired to solve a problem in your present place of work, which is where you see as where you make your primary income. Okay? You've been hired to solve a problem, so you need to treat that job with care. You need to put in all seriousness in that job. All right? And the next one is policies. It's very important that you go through the organization policies. As a matter of fact, when you join an organization newly, the HR gives you or sends in the policy document for you to go through. And reading through that policy document, it means they're trying to point you to some do's, don'ts. They're trying to let you know how new and existing employees should behave. They want you to know the company culture. In a certain way, you're expected to behave within and outside the organization, so long as you are representing them. So it's important you go through the policy to see if the policy permits you to have a side business, okay? The reason is that so you don't get into trouble in the organization. It's always important that when you join an organization, please go through their policy documents to have a proper understanding of what you are expected to do and what you're not expected to do, because this policy shows you the consequences for your actions and inactions. The next one is terms of employment. It's important that you go through your terms of employment that you signed. As a matter of fact, we encourage people to read through, understand what you're signing before you go ahead to append your signature. Go ahead and read through and ensure that you're not going against the company's rules. If they're saying you have 1 hour break every day out of 5 to 6 hours that you're expected to work, you want to use the 1 hour for something else, that's fine. But it's important that you don't eat into the company's time doing your own thing. So another thing is having a conflict of interest. Most organizations do not allow their employees to get into certain trade or even get into certain business. I'll give you a few examples. We have the civil service. The civil service does not encourage or allow employees to do their own thing aside if you're going to be running an NGO or you're going into agriculture. These things are very important. If you are a pharmacist and you're working in a pharmacy, that means you're actually working for someone. At the time you decide to want to run your own pharmacy, it's not a good idea to remain in that particular pharmacy that you're working for or working with, because there is already a conflict of interest. So you try as much as you can to look out for those things that you're not expected to do or the organization does not expect you to do. One more thing is for you to do identify your vocation. You try to see what allows you to practice at your free time. It could be modeling, it could be farming, it could even be coaching, it could even be mentorship. Just find something that you love doing, identify your vocation, and so on. Also, for conflict of interest, some organizations are actually exempted from this whole thing. So for the people in the medical line, medical practitioners, if you're working in a government hospital, you should have practiced up to 5 or more years in general medicine before you can say, okay, I'll go ahead and open up my hospital and be coming in as a consultant and the rest. Having multiple streams of income, here are the benefits. It makes you to live your dream life. So that particular life you want to live, you can afford to eat any kind of food you want to eat. You can afford to register in any gym, to go for your full body workout or anything you want to do. You can afford to get a car. You can afford to pay your house rent. Basic things that are required of you to take care of, and then other things that you dream of being or becoming or having. So another benefit is that putting into good use your skills in other areas, especially in an expertise that you have passion for or enjoy doing. For example, Judith enjoys cooking. As a result of that, she cooks for people and she makes extra income added to her primary stream of income. So the next one is also to improve your income, which falls in the same category. And we're also talking about financial stability and security. At least you know you're financially secured when you have another stream of income. You can decide to say, oh, okay, because I'm a content developer, after work, I enjoy writing content and handling social media platforms for certain organizations. So the money I'm making from this particular thing I do, I'm going to do what? Channel it into a particular project. I'm going to do what? Channel it into saving. I'm going to do what? Channel it into investment. Another thing is that you get to use your other talents outside of work, and it helps you to do what? Get closer to your financial goals. How are these multiple streams of income created? Taking on extra job in another organization. Like I mentioned earlier, is either going to be on-premise or a remote job, but it has to be a time different from the other time, so they don't have to conflict. Working at different hours or times that doesn't conflict with other jobs that you do. If you're also considering taking on another job, you should also consider giving yourself time to rest. So let's say, for example, you're getting off a particular job that has been 4 hours and then getting into another one. It's important that you at least give yourself, just take a rest. I was in a panel interviewing a set of job seekers, and somebody said he was already doing another job. And he was asked, how do you plan to do this job and now do on this one that we are interviewing you for? And he says he was able to analyze the whole thing and let us know his plans. He said, I'm going to be working from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. This means that the other shift for the other job starts at 2 p.m. I'll bring out 1 hour or 30 minutes to rest so that I'm not fagged out to move into the other job. Another way is entrepreneurship. And for those of us hearing about entrepreneurship for the first time, this means practicing entrepreneurship within an organization. So being innovative and owning a stake because of your ideas at your present place of employment. Let me elaborate a little more on this. You are in an organization and you come up with an idea. You want to automate processes. And we have a software developer here, the IT person. Once you sell that idea to the organization and they have an in-house IT person, what happens? The person goes ahead to build an application that would enable the organization to do what? Automate their processes. It could be taking leave. It could be a clocking in, like for the people that work remotely, they want to clock in online, something to show that they are actually working, and the system monitors them and the rest. If the organization decides to sell that product, that finished product, what happens? That's an extra means to generate revenue for the organization. And where things are properly done, what happens? You that have been able to come up with this innovation or come up with this idea or make this recommendation, you're expected, or they are expected to give you a stake. You have a stake in the business. So anything coming, you might decide to say you're going to get 1%, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 10% of the profit made in the sales of that particular product that you made recommendation for, or that was your idea. So that's who an entrepreneur is. You have a mind of an entrepreneur, but you are practicing in an existing organization. And the next one is entrepreneurship, where you own and run your own business outside your present organization. So you might decide to partner with external people to see that business grow. You might decide to run it alone. But what happens is that all the ideas, everything you want to put into place to ensure that you have a proper business running is owned by you. You direct it all with your partners. The next one is the consequences of imbalance between your 9-to-5 and personal business. I like just one person to give me disadvantage of having an imbalance between your 9-to-5 and your personal business. Just one disadvantage.
Well, I would say one of them will suffer. So either your 9-to-5 or your personal business is definitely going to suffer a loss if you are not able to balance both of them. So you're going to be either underperforming in your 9-to-5 or not running your personal business as you wish to run it.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Judy, for that contribution. So let's get into it. And your regular job is likely to suffer, like Judith already explained. So if you're unable to balance between your 9-to-5 and your personal business, your job is likely to suffer. And we know what happens when a job suffers. So it will negatively impact the operations of your team, your unit, your department, which will now get to the organization, negatively impact the organization. So you agree with me that there are some jobs that before employee B can go ahead to do their own jobs, employee A needs to bring in a result that employee B takes from that, just like passing over the baton in terms of work. Then employee A has to finish what they are doing before employee B can take over, which will aid them, to successfully implement their own task and also pass on to another person. So let's see in a situation whereby employee A is having difficulty striking a balance between his or her 9-to-5 and the personal business. So what happens? Aside the job suffering, you're also going to do what? Experience stress at multiple levels. So the person having his or her personal business and the other employees that are depending on his or her result to be able to produce that or have a greater output for the organization. So as a result, there might be drop in revenue generation at your place of work. And we're talking about a waste of resources. I've talked about multiple stress at all levels. And when you're stressed out so much, what happens? There will be health issues. You keep going to the hospital and you start spending the money already that you have made or you plan to use for something else. You might end up taking your work home, even working weeknights and weekends, and wouldn't have time to attend to your personal business proper. Your present place of work and your personal business suffers. Okay. So we would be rounding up here, and based on what have I explained, you will agree with me that being an entrepreneur while working is actually a good idea, okay? But we also all agree that being an entrepreneur is not for the faint-hearted, not for persons with a lot of excuses to give at every point in time. So having to combine both your pay job and your business while maintaining a work-life balance is not a walk in the park. That is why this evening, we're bringing in the co-facilitator, Mr. Abraham Orukwe. So here is a brief introduction. Mr. Abraham Orukwe is a chartered accountant, and he works with a multinational company. He's a certified leadership and business coach, and John Maxwell certified actually. And Mr. Abraham owns and runs Smile Planet Limited. He owns and runs it with 4 subsidiaries. And we have the consulting arm of Smile Planet. We have the foundation, And he also has the farm and Abraham Olukwe as a brand. So he manages all these subsidiaries and at the same time being able to be at par in his performance, effectively and efficiently handle his responsibilities at the multinational company while also handling his personal business. So please permit me to make welcome Mr. Abraham Olukwe to take over the session. So here he will be telling us the secrets behind him being able to properly manage his role as an accountant and the Smile Planet Limited. All right, Mr. Abraham, over to you, please.
Hi there, thanks a million for this opportunity. I'll go straight to why we are here, is how to gain balance between 8 to 5 or 8 to 4 job and that thing we should truly have passion for. Every time I jokingly tell people in my sessions that I'm an accountant by profession and I'm a coach by calling. So the point remains is this. Over time, I've realized that the first point of failure and the first point of success is identity crisis. So, identity crisis is one major challenge I've seen over time working with organizations, working with individuals at different points in time, simply because we fail to realize who we are and we're after actualizing who we should be. Self-realization is a different ball game from self-actualization. Now, what exactly it is. Self-actualization is you want to become an accountant, you want to do this, you want to do that. All these are self-actualization. You're writing your ICANN, your ACCA, your professional course, you're taking more courses in your field, in your profession, attending trainings. All these are self-actualization goals. The question should not be, have you realized yourself? Maybe you should not be even working in the first instant. Maybe you are long overdue where you are working right now. Maybe you should be an employer you should be one creating jobs, not working for jobs. That's why I say identity crisis is the first point for every success and every failure. Let me take it a step further. You need to know where you belong to for you to be able to balance these two. Are you a finisher or are you a starter? What does it mean by this? Like me, for example, I'm a starter. I can pick an idea, I can think about it, originate it, fire it up, but I'm never patient enough to take it to the end line of what we are agreed to achieve. What did I do? I intentionally surround myself with finishers and few starters. A finisher is someone who is very conscious, trustworthy, reliable, disciplined enough to take an idea to the deadline for execution. But a starter is one who pick up an idea through creativity, imagination, and do what? Launch it out, share it with people, and the next thing, he's having a new one, she's having a new one, she's chasing. Now realize that in the space of the 8 months of 2022, you've done and gotten more than 5 different things you want to do. And let me ask you, how many have you brought to a conclusion? 2 or 1? Some people want to ask, can I have the combination? Yes. There's one part, it's possible you can have your primary dominant and your secondary dominant, but you just need to ask a good. So if you don't understand this thing, you struggle with your job. If you don't understand this simple thing, you keep attracting people in your grouping that do nothing with you. Maybe in your job right now, where you are there, you're currently, like I'm an accountant. So what did I do? I'm the head of department. Not only I grew to this stage, I've been in this company for 6 years. And my personal business is going to 10 years by November 11. So I already have my company my business before I became an accountant in this company where I work. The first thing you need to do That's why I say that you need to ask yourself, have I been able to realize myself before I'm chasing my self-actualization? You need to sit back on you and ask yourself this question. And when you do that, the next one you should be looking at will be a clear definition of purpose. What exactly do you want to do outside your paid job? You need to sit down. I did this years ago. It's my trade secret I'm sharing. I'm very creative with my imagination because I know I'm a starter. I do everything possible to discipline myself to stay on track on course for one thing I want to try and achieve. It's in my house. What I did, I have to write myself an appointment letter, appointing myself as the marketing manager of Smart Planet Facility Management in 2014. When I closed for my 8 to 5 job, I resumed Smart Planet by 7 p.m. in the evening. I disciplined myself that 7 to 8, I invest 1 hour every day into my brainchild, Smart Planet. So many of us here, we have not been able to discipline ourselves to nurture our brainchild. That's why we are struggling. Your brainchild is your idea. Your brainchild is your passion. Your brainchild is that thing you want to achieve. Let me tell us this thing. No matter how fantastic you are in an organization, at your exit, they won't give you your chair to take home. Hope you know that. At your exit, they won't call your family or your son or your daughter, this space belongs to your daddy, so come and resume the next day. It's not possible. So what I've done is that I have a clear definition of purpose through what? My vision board. Now, outside your vision board, you need to go get a cost board, because many of us are always after vision board. I've attended so many trainings that tell you, imagine it, cut the picture, put it on the wall, and close your eye for 5 minutes every morning and imagine it. No, you need to go get a cost board. You need to know what it costs, what it should cost you to what? Found and finance your vision. So you that is having an 8 to 5 job right now, what do you do when you close? I understand your job can be so hectic. I totally understand. Like, even at the close of job, you're mentally exhausted. That brings the word sacrifice. When I started my company years ago, I was working in the bank as a teller. It was pretty stressful. You have to balance the cash to the other one. Later, I became a zonal analyst to my boss then. I will analyze each brand's monthly reports, their targets. I will still go home and resume my own work. That was discipline working. Like I really said, if you cannot balance between your 8 to 5 and your passion, you realize that one must suffer, because you can't serve 2 masters at the same time. Or how can you serve 2 masters at the same time, which I have done? Is I was able to have structures on ground, have systems on ground. One, I first and foremost looked for an office address where I can meet clients. What did I do? When you tell me you are coming to see me, I try to push all my activities towards weekend. I don't know the nature of your brainchild. So after that, that's why you need collaborations. You need people around you that is on the same track with you, who are what? Finishers, who are starters, that can help you harness what you are doing. And one way you can attract these people is transparency. Many of us, we are struggling and moving in circles simply because we've not been able to first have a clear definition of purpose. So you don't have the terms and conditions of accepting people to come and work with you in your brainchild. The next one we're looking at will now be what? Your self-development around your brainchild. Now let's say your job is here. I'm an accountant, good and fine, but I have special interest in consulting, management, structure, and building capacity. What did I do? I took leave to go and attend courses that can help me grow in my niche. So the question should not be, many of us on this call right now have not been able to finance our brainchild. Not because your salary is not enough, simply because you don't have the discipline. Everything rise and fall on discipline. This is something that worked with for me for years. So the point now remains that let's take it back to you. If you say, let's take the catering as a case study. Let's say you have an 8 to 5 job you do right now. That does not stop you from marketing your stuff on social media. So what do? You can choose to say, on this day, I don't know where you are logging in from, but let's say you're joining this call from Europe. You have your off days, you have days you're not working, or let's say you're working from a typical Nigeria system where you work from Monday all through to what? Friday. Some work even demands your Saturdays. At that starting point, you should begin to look for your spare time. If it happens, you need to invest your after works. Let's assume those of us that live in Lagos. Let's say you close by 4 before you get to this 10 o'clock. I understand. But that is where discipline still come in. To say, okay, what can I do? Who do I know that can come in to collaborate with me to work together? One way I've been able to balance this whole thing around me is simply by what? Self-discipline. You must fund and finance your brainchild for you to take it serious. Many of us are unable to balance our brainchild, which is our business, our passion, with our profession, which we do 8 to 5, simply because we've not paid more attention or finance our dream. So those of us that are in Africa, I understand your condition is peculiar. But if like those Nigerians on this call, the family wahala or the family problem won't suck out the life of your pay before you cash out. I understand. What I did in 2014 was I decided to launch my brainchild and told myself a percentage of this amount must go to my brainchild every month. Heaven will not fall, because family problem is like sinking sand. Family demands are like sinking sand. It has no base. It keeps sinking you down. So your goal should not be, in the next 5 years, my brainchild should be, okay, I have a lovely daughter. She's just 2 years. And my brainchild is about 6 years older than my biological daughter or child. Let me use that word. So you go back to your own drawing board and ask yourself, have I really been putting enough energy into my brainchild? If I should tell everybody here right now, tell me your brainchild's name. Let me check it out on Google, my business page. Let me check it out on Instagram, your WhatsApp status. Some of us have a brainchild. You don't even have a WhatsApp business for your brainchild. What's in your status showing? This is the beginning of balancing between your job and your brainchild. Let's not take your job. For your job, many of you have clashing your job time and your brainchild simply because you're not proactive on your job. Your head of department, your line manager chase you to give a simple report. We all have 24 hours in a day. One thing I've gotten right is that I gave myself turnaround time. My turnaround time to deliver on any task in my office is maximum of 60 minutes. That is 1 hour. Maximum. That is why on my phone, and one thing I do in the office, I distract my distraction. All notifications on my system on my phone are off. I choose when I want to go and check my WhatsApp. I choose when I want to go and check anything. You don't distract me. So most of you, the first task now to go and distract your distraction. Type here, I will distract my distraction. If you are getting value, type it. I want to see it on this chat button. I promise to distract my distraction. That should be your commitment in this session. I promise to distract my distraction. So in most cases, our inability to distract our distraction is why we are not maximizing our time. So one way you can distract your distraction, which I have done, that have given me results, is using the Pareto principle of 80-20% rule. 80-20% rule is the Pareto principle. Please, thank you. It seems to say that 80% of what you see as results is as a result of the 20% of the things you get right. 80% of what you get as result comes from the intentional things you do in your 20%. Let me ask you, what is that 20% have you done today that you can say, yes, is worth it? So this is all what I've been able to do. Distract my distraction, focus on the 20% of the things in my place of work to ensure that I get value every day so that I can have more time to look at my brainchild. On your own place of work, some of you have your emails stuck in your email right now. You've not checked it. The job you're supposed to do right now at your place of work, you spend up to about 10 to 20 minutes every 1 hour shuffling around the internet doing nothing. Then later I say, I have a very hectic day. Hectic day doing what? Your time management is one of the factors you need to put into consideration for you to enable you balance this thing. I have a poultry farm. I have a consultant like IG. I call her IG. That is the name friend I like calling her. IG rightly said, in my place of work, once I have a task to do, I listen. So many of us today, we don't have enough time in our place of work because when instruction is being passed to us, execution is the next action. No, listen to enough instruction, you will gain speed in execution. But many of us keep sending me, sir, what do you say I should do just now? So get enough time. Ensure you are proactive, not reactive. These things work. I'm not saying this from what I read. It's what has worked for me. That today my 4 business and my career is doing fantastic well. The last one I'll be saying before we round up is that you must learn to network. Learn to network. Many of us, we say, you know what, I'm a shy person. I'm a very reserved person. I ask this question, are you an hotel room that is being reserved? Point should be, the moment you start networking with people, you start seeing the reasons of how best you can be more proactive in your brainchild. You need people around you. So that's why you need to go sit down, have a clear definition of purpose, ask yourself, this 80-20% rule, how should I be able to do this? What's the 20% that give me result on a daily basis? Then other one you need to look at again should be, you must be more of transformational minded than transactional. In your place of work, right, what exactly is your job description? Maybe you're not doing your job, but that's why you are always overwhelmed. When you are being employed, what exactly was your job description? What is your JD? Some of you are, I know you need to be multitasking, you need to do a lot of things for your department because you want your KPIs, your appraiser to go up. In summary, not everybody is cut out for business. Some of us are meant to co-own and co-found a business. So go back and ask yourself, am I a starter or am I a finisher? Should I partner and co-own something, or should I do it on my own? So with this, I'll call it for an end because I believe our time is very precious to us. And in all, remember, you need a structure in your personal life through time management and the proper structure at your place of work through using the 80-20% rule, Pareto principle of what is important and what is effective. Thank you so very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Abraham, for sharing your secrets with every one of us on these webinars. This is where we say thank you so much for making out time to join this session. And we would also like to encourage everyone to like and follow our social media pages. At Facebook, we have Santus Consulting, and Instagram, we have at Santus CL. Okay, thank you.